Will you help me open with the pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have the roll call.
Trustee Sears? Here. Trustee Jeffers? Here. Trustee Corinne?
Here.
Fiscal officers here. Township administrator? Here. Fire chief?
Here.
Police chief?
Here.
Superintendent Rhodes?
Here.
Residents?
Thank you. Our next meeting is May 4th, 2023 at 3820 Cleveland Avenue at 6:30 p.m. And at this time, I would like to make a motion to accept the agenda with flexibility. Second.
Trustee Sears?
Yes.
Trustee Corinne?
Yes.
Trustee Jeffers?
Yes. Fiscal officer.
I make a request to approve the April 6th meeting minutes. So moved.
Second.
Trustee Sears?
Yes.
Trustee Corinne?
Yes.
Trustee Jeffers?
Yes.
We'll read the March fiscal report. March 1st, the township had an overall fund balance of $8,898,520.61. Revenue, which included first half real estate, was $2,241,794.22. Expenditures in the month of March was $622,200.16, leaving us with an overall fund balance of $10,518,114.67. So I request a motion to approve the March fiscal report.
Second.
Trustee Sears?
Yes.
Trustee Grimm?
Yes.
Trustee Jeffers?
On to committee and team reports. At the last produce market, we served 380 individuals and had 10,000 pounds of produce. Our next market is April 28th, from 4 to 6 p.m. We are also starting up with the Linden Anti-Violence Walks. So they actually started this month. In May, we are kind of playing the host for the Linden Walks. So those walks will be May 15th and 22nd from 6 to 8 p.m. We will meet at Town Hall, like in the community room. We usually do a gathering outside, and then we walk. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to have police and fire again for the walks to kind of escort us down and then back up Cleveland Avenue. Lots of community agencies will be there. Typically, some city council members come, some judges are there. So we're just trying to make these walks much bigger than they were last season. So it would be awesome if everyone could come.
Is there a destination or an end rally or, I mean, you just decide when to stop or?
Typically cross the street, walk south on Cleveland Avenue to Elmore, cross the street, come back up to the fire station.
Okay.
Just confirm the 15th, 22nd, or what it is.
Yes.
Move on.
Our May Earth Day celebration.
So we have the Earth Day celebration. Did anybody want to speak to that?
I just that it will be happening this weekend from 10 to 2 at 3820 Cleveland Avenue. There'll be free saplings while supplies last. They do a litter sweep along Cleveland Avenue, weather permitting. Last year, the weather didn't cooperate. Looked like this Saturday's weather isn't supposed to be the greatest either, but if so, we'll have a litter walk clean up at around 11. Public Works Department is partnering with Local Waste Services to sponsor a GBC, which is a garage and basement cleanout day. We'll have dumpsters available for residents to dispose of unwanted items. Again, depending on weather, we may just have them go around the back of the building and go through a bay.
And if the train will go through the garage and one load their material into the backhoe and drive them.
Nice.
Franklin Soil and Water Conservation District will be there, hopefully with some demonstration of green barrels, and residents can pick up information regarding the stormwater rebate program. And then last but not least, the police department will be doing the prescription medication drop-off for old and unused drugs, mainly pills and powders. We're not accepting needles.
No syringes.
I just want to plug the fact that, because it's a fairly recent change, it used to be the township did not, qualify for the rain barrel rebate in, past years, but that has since been changed, is my understanding. The last couple of years, I think our residents are able to qualify for that, so more information at the Franklin Soil and Water table. We have, a limited number of trees this year, just availability like everything else, I guess. Supply chain and all of that was a little bit more limited than usual, but we do have one large shade tree, we have one more like shrub, so that's pecan and spice bush respectively, and then a small ornamental tree, dogwood. And those are all tiny bare root saplings, but first come, first served.
One addition, for the chat, April 29th will be our second Clinton Township Cares event for the month of April. From noon to 4 p.m., we'll have resources, over 3820 Cleveland Avenue at 1 p.m. We'll be starting a women's self-defense class. We have a limit of 25 per class. If we have more than that, the instructor is willing to do more than one class that day.
That's what, the 29th you said?
Yes,
Saturday?
yes,
That's self-defense class, is that the thing Mike is doing?
yes.
One more thing under committee team reports, just a reminder that the budget committee meeting is gonna be, May 10th from 6:30 to 7:30 at Cleveland Avenue.
Oh, I didn't, what'd you just say? I was tuned out.
Budget committee meeting is gonna be May 10th, from 6:30 to 7:30 over at, Cleveland Avenue. 38. Thank you.
Permission for the administrator to sign and submit a letter of support on behalf of the township for Franklin County Public Health application for CDC overdose data to action, limited overdose through collaborative actions in localities.
So moved. Second?
Apparently they have had this grant in the past. They're just reapplying for it.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Graham?
Yes.
Trustee Jasper?
Yes.
Discussion regarding other townships, communicate with residents. At the last meeting, we kind of talked about reaching out to other townships. Reached out to about 6 other township administrators just to see what all they might do in regards to communication. Perry Township, they do what they call an eye contact to send out e-blasts. I think we have that kind of capability on our website for certain aspects if a resident is interested in getting information about something specific. But I think that's slightly different from this, and they only use that for like really important stuff, like fires closing a road or tornado warning or something along that line. And then Norwich Township, the only other thing they really do is like door hangers. But that's mainly for violations of nuisances and perhaps if we're intruders not being inspected right away. So those are the only other comments I received from other townships in regards to what they do to communicate with other residents. In regards to signage, not going to do electronic, then it's not have to be one of those changeable letter things, like I think probably the church next door has, whatever, which would be a glass enclosed case with letters that you'd be wanting to change up.
So just to give some backstory here, a resident had suggested putting an LED sign out here in front of this building because we are unique that our township has two sides. There's two areas that we try to communicate with residents. So we were trying to come up with alternative ways. There was about 50% of the residents over here said yes, or actually it was 6 to 3. 6 said no, 3 said yes to having an LED sign out in front of here. So we want to respect their wishes, and we were trying to come up with different ways that we could try to communicate. And so we were reaching out to other townships to see if maybe we could do a poll over here of, hey, if you were to communicate with the township, what would be the best ways to do it? These are the things we have access to now. We use LinkedIn, Facebook, which we just got our report this year. It's actually getting a lot of traction. I'm pretty impressed. Thank you, Deborah, for putting that together. So we were just trying to see if there's anything else that we as a township could do to better help our residents get notifications and understand what's going on.
I believe we have the sandwich boards out front.
It is for this weekend's event, and we're going to put it out for the following event as well.
I would just put in a request that we do a little sort of information blitz on the ability of our website to do the subscription thing. I think it's, it's a feature that we have that probably not a lot of residents know about, and maybe more folks will take advantage of signing up for that.
Signing up for a subscription for,
So the website will, back in the day, we called it an RSS feed. I don't know what it's called on this particular website, but there's the ability to sign up for blasts, whether it's for like a calendar event change or something that happens that you would post on the website. People would get emails and notifications of that.
I think the newsletter is one of them too, where they could sign up to receive it electronically versus.
Yeah, but this is specific to like calendar events and news items and such like that. People can subscribe to various areas for when there are changes. And that's a capability that we already have.
correct, I'll revisit it. That was my understanding in my research in the past, however, that once they sign up, nothing gets automatically pushed out.
Well,
There's no automatic
sounds,
alert, but I'll revisit it.
sounds like, yeah.
With Civic
sounds
Plus
like
again.
a Civic Plus call, but that was our understanding when we first got the site up, that it was gonna happen.
Okay, absolutely.
But I'll touch base with you on it again.
Then the last item, I'll just maybe turn it over to Deborah in regards to, she's been working with Lynn Durham regarding the microphone audio issues on the east side. And tonight we have Jonathan here, many of you may remember him, kind of helping us out with what our setup is over here, so Deborah, you wanna?
Yeah, I can give you the Cliff Note version. I sent a detailed email out a week or so ago with respect to the information that Lynn Durham has been going to provide the township, and there's three different things. He's looking at the press and play microphones and get what it's going to take for that to happen. He's looking also at the ability to sync both of our Epson projector with the monitor that's hanging on the wall behind the trustees seating, so that when we do presentations, they're synced up. That's going to take an HDMI splice cable, so I'm waiting for him to circle back around. Can't get a hold of him right now. His voicemail's full, and he's not responding to emails, so hopefully we'll get resurface within the next couple of days, I'm hoping. And then he came out also to
to kind of review the audio system that we have currently so that everybody has a basic understanding on the connectivity, the controls, and how to utilize the audio system and video system, especially when we have presenters that come in with their laptop, etc. We still have a couple glitches. Chief Fraley found out this past weekend that we weren't able to use the laptop in the community room closet for audio, but we were able to have a workaround for now. So that I thought was already resolved. Apparently it's not. So again, I'm bird dogging Len, in short. Jonathan's here to revisit, I think, a kit that he had suggested in the past to make the recording of the YouTube video for the trustee meetings a lot more efficient and less cumbersome, so to speak. And then IT, of course, from last week, I don't know again if anybody got the email. We had a network firewall glitch, which prevented us from moving forward with successfully recording and uploading the video, unbeknownst to us. So they did come out, IT Mabriel, discovered that that was the issue and resolved it in both here and 3820. That's all I got. And then I can follow up with you or answer any questions or comments that you have regarding that piece tomorrow or next week. Thank you.
Give Deborah a lot of kudos for sticking with it and really trying to figure out what's not working, how can we get it fixed, and who she needs to talk to. And like she said, a lot of people aren't necessarily real responsive, but she sticks with it and gets a response. So I thank her for that. That's all I have.
Chief Brady?
I listed no new business, however, I forgot, going in line with, other activities we have in the township on May 20th at 1 p.m. The same instructor we had for the women's self-defense class on the east side will be conducting a class here at 1 p.m. I still have yet to get the flyer for that together, but we will have one on the west side on May 20th at 1 p.m.
Is that a women's self-defense class?
Yes.
How long is it got?
That's all.
Will that just be the class? It won't be the resources and everything?
Correct. It's just a class.
Thank you, Chief Jones.
Yeah, just kind of flexibility to let everybody know. The 29th at 10 a.m. at 3820, we will be hosting a first block watch meeting for the Ivory Louis Road community area. Several participants reached out, and we will be doing that before the big festivities that day. So if anybody, Audrey Road or Huey Road wishes to come and participate in that, the doors will be open at 10 a.m. So we hope to have a good turnout and then get that started up back there again.
Let's plug and thank Lisa Austin Jones for getting started with that. She sent me a flyer that she developed. You probably have seen it, that is really, really well done. She's very excited about that, so I was just happy to see her getting them on. Thanks, Lisa.
Should be fun.
What day is that, Chief?
Saturday the 29th at 10 a.m. at the main township hall.
And Jane, you said her name was Lisa Austin Jones?
That's correct.
Yes.
She's one of our ardent Facebook followers, posters, likers,
She is.
sharing.
She's as east side activist as it comes. For sure.
First item I have request for is a motion to declare 2018 Ford Taurus VIN 1FA HP 2M TX JG 112351 as surplus and to be auctioned on the WS.
Second.
Trustee Sarah? Yes. Trustee Renfro?
Yes.
Trustee Ginsburg?
Next motion I am requesting is accept the Exxon Body Cam quote for a 5-year program to replace our current contract, which expires on May 1st, 2023. 5-year program for body cameras and evidence cloud storage will be $73,018.77. This price is broken down into a 5-year payment plan of $14,603.77 per year. Currently, we're ready, I did get with, Jim, can't remember Jim's name. He's at the Attorney General's office, and he spearheads a lot of the stuff for the law enforcement divisions under the AG's office. And there's no current grant money right now. The $10 million that the governor had expired and was all used up by last August. But he did say, Jim Schultz his name, I'm sorry. But did respond that if something does come back in the budget after July, that those things are available, they would definitely get that information out to us. So because we would have an existing program, if we did get grant money going forward, if it becomes available, it would take care of the rest of the contract that we would have with Action.
Second?
Trustee Zero?
Yes?
Trustee Brand?
Yes.
Trustee Jasper?
Yes.
The last item I have is to request a purchase order from Fund 2081-210-420 in the amount of $14,603.77 to Axon for the first payment of that 5-year contract.
Second.
Trustee Zero?
Yes.
Trustee Brand?
Yes.
Trustee Jasper?
Yes. Dave?
First, I have a motion to give permission to the Public Works Supervisor to use the township vehicle to attend the Stormwater Conference in Sandusky, Ohio, from May 9th to 12th.
Second?
Trustee Zero?
Yes.
Trustee Brand?
Yes.
Trustee Jasper?
Yes.
Who all's going, Dave?
Guy and I will go with him this year. And just a quick update on this street paving. I talked to one of the fellows last week out of Mark Mullenek's office, and he's thinking that paving should start somewhere in June, maybe July. So I haven't heard nothing back for how, if the bids went out or anything yet, but that's what he's thinking it'll happen. Which would be good, that school will be out and I'll be taken care of before school starts up again.
What are we thinking about in terms of helping residents understand what's going to be happening to them in their neighborhood?
I'm not sure if it will be up to the contractor to put door hangers on. If not, we'll try to push out as much as we can.
We just want to get ahead of it so we keep our eye on it.
I know there's some pavement markings out there, so
Yeah.
we've had some residents ask what was going on. So
Yeah.
very few, but there's a few out there that know that this is coming
Yeah.
in the near future.
I'll never forget the day that the residents on Ferris woke up to find brand new telephone poles in their front yards, sometimes multiple telephone poles in their front
Where
yards.
they dropped them off.
Nobody ever heard anything. So, yeah.
So, just to kind of, for those who maybe not necessarily know about this project, Dave's worked with, I can't remember the name of the company was, but they did a full survey on the condition of all the different roads within the township. And so, by following on their suggestions, we made 7 different zones that we're looking on repaving each year, one of the 7 sections over the next 7 years. So, pretty excited about the project. Should do some really great road improvements around both sides of the township. So, super excited to see that get started.
And we think the roundabout construction will be done when this starts, or like right on the heels of it?
It should be done. They laid asphalt yesterday and today in the roundabout. There was a little delay because they ended up extending the storm sewers out to the end of the project to the east because of the old clay tile in there. So when that Ferris Road gets updated in 26, they'll do all new storm sewers and stuff down through there. So, and that's where, that area, a lot of our water dumps into that.
I walked it the other day, and I couldn't remember the old ones, but the new ones look great. The new grates look great, the new storm drains look larger.
Yeah.
But I'm not married to that, because I didn't take a picture of the old ones.
And what you don't see is the old clay pipe that's deteriorating
Below.
down in the ground. And I think he said it's like 14 feet deep there at Walford Ferris, that's how deep the
Wow.
storm drains are.
And Dave, just, I think I know the answer, but there are no sidewalk slash ramps, anything going in with this project, it's just the roundabout in the middle. There's nothing happening on the corners to the sidewalks themselves.
The north left side, I think,
I haven't noticed that yet. There is some sidewalk there, but I don't know whether there's improvements to that. I have never seen the plans for this, but I know in the future, the 26th, I think it includes sidewalks. So if it's not, I would almost think it'd be addressed at the intersection now.
I would just, maybe ask you to see if you can find anything out, because I would love for us to continue the blue ramps that we did up Walford last year.
Talking about 88 mats.
Yes, so that the mats are still the same,
Now, there's,
or they just revert back to, you know, the default of the redwoods Columbus uses,
the 26th date where they're talking about redoing all the fairs and that.
Yeah, I think it's
including
26.
curbs, sidewalks and everything,
Mhm.
so that will hopefully tie in with the project as well.
and we'll hope that that is the same, yeah.
My thought would be if it's crosswalks, then they probably come around away from the roundabout.
Yeah.
I'll look into that.
Okay, thank you.
but it might be, from my memory, on the northwest side, I think it's one of our blue squares, beginning of the sidewalk improvements they did last year.
To Jane's point though, if this is gonna be happening in June, how much of a notification do we wanna be able to give residents about the paving project starting?
As soon as the bid's back and we know that it's been awarded, we'll put something out on Facebook. This is coming in the near future. As we get closer, we'll notify.
You know, this is a relatively, small portion of our addresses overall, and it may even be worth a mailing, I'm thinking.
Yeah, it'd be really good to put it with our letterhead, with our name to say that it's coming from us.
You know, so we're sure that every resident gets it, but as Dave makes a good point, we gotta know when it is before we can figure out when to tell them.
And I think I'll get with Mark, because it may be part of the paving company's responsibility. Because they'll have the signage up, once the signage comes up, residents know what's going on,
Right.
We'll get some phone calls and maybe they'll look at the social media part of it.
I'd still like something from us coming out.
Yeah, I think a mailing is gonna be very affordable and very well, worth it.
Yeah, just to kind of brand that this is something that we're providing. We want people to know that, we care about their roads and that we're improving it.
Sounds good. I want to skip number 3 and we'll go to number 4 on the agenda. The Cleveland Avenue signs for the corridor to Northern Lights. I know I've sent emails out to all the trustees. Are we getting close to any of them?
I think, for me, I think that we're there on the 30-inch high one. The 36 started getting a little too airy at the top and the bottom for my taste.
Okay,
Had too much empty white space when it got that big.
all right.
But that's my impression. But I thought, everything else I thought was just fine.
I know Matt suggested he thought the D and H wasn't lined up just correct. Didn't know whether that needs.
I didn't notice that. I'm happy to take another look at it, but I didn't notice that on first glance.
The D just seems to be to the right of H.
I would just, when you talk to the artist next and say, we like this one, is that H and D okay? I would just do that.
Yeah, because I think maybe they pushed the D over a little bit because Clinton
That might be.
is down here, so it may just.
You wanna just turn that towards the folks there for a second? So, when the Cleveland Avenue,
We're looking at the bottom one.
project ever happens, we're thinking about the Food Gateway signage.
And that Cleveland Avenue project is the county project.
So we're just trying to kind of brand the district, make people aware that we are a specific, historical section of town. Trying to get a little more branding out there so people know about what it is that we do.
Thanks for keeping us on that, Dave.
Yes, because I know the county's kind of wanting to know what the size of the sign, so we're good with the size. We got that figured out, so
Yeah, I think we're there.
that's a plus. Okay, then, go back to the third item I had was, a while back, we had discussions about the sidewalk along Chambers Road connecting Hess Boulevard to Chambers Circle. And Matt and I came out with the county, mobility engineer and kind of looked the project over. He thought it was just a small project that could be done, but he kind of looked at a bigger picture we got looking at. If we could bring it to 999, the residents could walk up here to meetings or what have you. Then we got looking, okay, if we connected to Kenny Road, that we could apply for a grant that usually is a 90-10 split. And we'd only be on the hook for 10% of the whole project. And the county said that they would take up the crosswalk and the flashers, that they would take up that cost. The only issue is with doing it with the grant, it's a 2-year process, because the grant actually pays for the engineering of the project. That would be the first year, and God forbid, the second year, and complete the project in that second year. I know I had some handouts here. I just thought we'd bring up discussion, what everyone thought.
It's also being proposed that it be much like what's on Kenny Road currently, which would be a curve with the sidewalk that would be right away issues along that side of Chambers.
Like the north side of the where the railroad tracks are, like that.
Over.
Like the asphalt
over
trail?
Kenny. It's a curve, there'd be curbs, and then the sidewalk would be directly behind the curb, so there really wouldn't be a tree line or anything, because as Dave and I were talking about, if we did have a tree line from us to Chambers Circle with that curve and everything, putting vegetation in there and everything, that might create some obstacles. So the proposal did start, as Dave said, from residents request about House Chambers, but when we met with the engineer, we're looking at total connectivity, and then potential grant paying for basically 90% of it, we're just bringing the whole project. It doesn't have to be done as is shown there, and we could still just do the House Chambers. But that would probably be 100% on the township.
Well, I want to hear from residents here in a second, because they've been asking about this for years, and I personally do not want to wait 2 years more just to do more sidewalk. I would like to get this thing done. We've been promising it for a long time. That's just my feeling first. But I would love to hear from you all about, let's keep in mind that as part of the Northwest Corridor, we learned this week, we got confirmation again that it is still in the plan as of now, and that does not mean it's Bible and it's gonna happen, but it is still in the plan that there will be, as part of the Northwest Corridor project, a multi-use path along the south side of the road, over here, all the way. So that's a ped, bike, whatever, multi-use, big path that's gonna be connecting. So that was why our first idea was to just do the segment that would get people to the park with a nice crosswalk that would allow people to cross over to the multi-use path to get to 999. So I just wanted to say that's where we started. My question would be, if we're doing the whole 9 yards, what's that 10% versus just doing that little stretch all on us? I mean, let's just build a sidewalk.
Do we have any estimate of the smallest piece if it was 100% on us?
Yep.
I'm gonna guess it'd be at least 400,000.
It's not nearly as long as the stretch on Elmore, which is 400,000. It's not nearly that long.
6 something,
Was 6 once we,
Stem
yeah,
was
once we went down to one side.
So it's considerably shorter than that. So
Yeah.
maybe
And there was a lot of storm work on the Elmore sidewalk. This
Yeah,
will have a little bit of storm infrastructure, curbing,
Yeah.
so there would be a little bit of cost to it. But with that plan, with the multi-use path and stuff, I think they also address a separate, there may be a separate for pedestrians not in the street, but bicycle in the street.
Yeah,
Is
it
it-
depends on what kind of multi-use path they end up deciding on, but it's obviously still in the plan. One of the things, and I don't know that any residents here tonight feel this way, but one of the things when we very first talked about this too was somebody said, oh, don't put it all the way to Kenny, because then everybody out there walking their dog on Kenny is gonna be in our park. So I don't know if that's a concern at all, or I would just love to hear how you all are starting to feel about what you would like to see.
So I live, over at, 948 Chambers, and, I think for us, most important is to get to Kenny. And the reason would be, because that is where the bus stop is for the kids. It's been moved around multiple times this year, from there to, over on the corner of Girard. We did request it to be moved back, just because cutting through the apartments, I don't think for any kids is a safe deal, because that's what they're gonna do, is cut through the apartments.
Is it right on Kenny and Chambers, the stop?
It is.
Is it on the north side?
So when the bus picks, it depends on if they're dropping off or picking up. So we do not allow our son to take the bus to school because it's too dangerous in the morning with it being dark. So we do have to provide him transportation. Cars run the red light all the time. I've almost been hit 3 times just walking, because I take the CABS bus for Ohio State, and I walk to the CABS bus over on Kinnear, and they don't stop. So it can be over on the right-hand side, or it can be on the left, depending on which way the bus is coming. Now, the bus driver will stop and kind of demand that traffic be stopped, to watch the child get and walk home. But I think what the challenge is, when he walks down here, he has to cross over on Chambers West. On Chambers West, the house right there, there are some, that brush there can kind of impede your view, especially when you're pulling out. You pretty much have to pull into halfway of Chambers Road to see what traffic you're dealing with. And you're looking for bikes, not just vehicles, right? You're looking for other sorts of traffic. I love the idea of a crosswalk at that space, but I also do like the idea of the sidewalk down Chambers, so he's not walking in the street, and he's also not, he has a path when it's snowing that he's not walking across the park, so he's actually walking down, in a sidewalk or a paved surface. So I guess my answer to you is, it's kind of like all of it, is to, I think this looks great. We tend to, when we walk, we don't go around Chambers, we don't go down Chambers onto Hess, it's just too dangerous. So we actually walk up to Kenny to go in the opposite way. When we have our dogs and everything, even if you're walking against traffic, it's just still way too dangerous. No one goes 25 miles per hour in the street. And so that's like another thing, maybe, I think I've suggested to the trustees just to possibly keep in mind is maybe a speed sign, you have a speed limit sign, but it actually tells you your speed that you're going as well. That might be helpful on Chambers Road. Police can tell us how much
We
it
have
actually.
some on the other side of town, we had one on Hess, and then there's a former trustee that didn't want those bright lights flashing on the street. But yeah, we have some portable ones we can move around.
Okay, yeah, I don't know if they work, but if statistics have shown that actually, reduces the speed of traffic.
Yeah, the only issue is because that's a county road, we may have to see if the county engineers would provide that.
Yeah, there is a lot, people cut through a lot more these days because at certain parts of the day, Kenny is just a standstill. It's absolutely, you can't go anywhere. So there is a lot of cutting through and getting to Necco or cutting through. One thing to bring up, there is a stop sign if you cut through where the tree house is, that's completely overgrown. So if you're coming, if you're going west, and there's no stop sign if you're going south, you'll have a collision road at that point. And Dave, I can take some pictures or email you on the map where it is. I think it just needs, it's a damaged stop sign, but also probably needs, some grooming, around it. But people are cutting through there as well to get access to King. So just, I don't know if, you know, the speed sign would help at least slow people's roll as they're cutting through the neighborhood. They're gonna cut through the neighborhood, we just want them to slow their roll a little bit while they're doing it. But yeah, I think this looks great. Can we wait 2 years? That answer is, can we wait? It's like one of those questions, when is someone going to get hit or hurt? It's going to happen, so can we wait 2 years for that? Not
So
really,
it's not
you know?
can we, it's not can we, I just want to be clear, if we do the whole thing, we are waiting 2 years,
Okay.
because that's how the grant's gonna work.
Okay,
Because that's gonna put the price at such that we're not gonna be able to just do that.
got it, understood.
I think a short little thing is something that we could probably just do without a grant, but if we're gonna do the whole stretch, I think we've been involved in a lot more,
Can you do markings on the road without a grant? Like, could you do the markings from Chambers West to the firehouse, like right here where you get the sidewalk? I don't know if,
Like the crosswalk.
yeah, right. That, like, with the addition of like, some, you know, slow down, this is your speed signage, that would at least create an awareness, visual awareness of people, like, you might see people crossing here. And then maybe we could just, that's the way we're establishing also in the neighborhood, here is the flow, this is the safe flow for everyone.
And, you know, the unfortunate thing too is if we wait 2 years for the grant, there's no guarantee we get the grant. I mean, you have to apply for a grant, and it's a competitive process. So, you know, if we wait 2 years, apply for the grant, well, we would find out we got the grant before 2 years, never mind.
Yeah, before they get into paying for the, I think he said, you can apply for the grant twice a year, if I remember correctly.
I got it backwards, so.
This isn't an OPWC grant, is it?
No.
This is a different program?
Yes.
I don't remember the name of it, sure, but.
Not to overthink it, but maybe if the township did the smaller piece now, we still put our hat in the ring for joining it up later. I get in the longer run, it's more expensive versus doing it all in the same wallop, but seeing as, I think we can afford $200,000 or $250,000 to do what we know is needed now, and then still go ahead with the grant, yeah.
I believe that is possible, it's something we could talk to Mike about, but that's why I was in the back of my head too, that was another option, that we could do this piece, then apply.
And there's no reason why we can't do our own crosswalks, right? Our own roads?
No, this is not our road. We could do
Oh,
a
I keep
crosswalk,
forgetting that about Chambers.
and you almost need to have a crosswalk with a sidewalk.
Yeah,
You don't like to see crosswalks going to grass or.
yeah.
So, I have a couple questions. These yellow markings on the side, is that indicating what is, public versus private property?
I would say that's marking out the right of way. That's what we're talking about, the lines. Then it shows the property lines. Is that what you're?
Yes.
Okay. The reason I ask that is because those bushes then are on public property, and that shed is also technically on public property.
That homeowner knows that, he's like, I'm just waiting to, you know, have to move it, so yeah, he's aware of it.
And down here on the other
Yeah.
end.
And so, and a fence is on public property, and then the other fence is on public property, so who would we talk to about trying to get that enforced?
That's something the county, it's in the county, it's not in the township right away.
Right,
It's
So-
the county.
so we'd have to petition to the county to see if they would be willing to enforce their actual public right of way.
Yes, and usually they don't do that until there's a job happening. And they say, hey, we're gonna put this in here, you're encroaching onto our right of way, you need to move your structure.
So the walkway that's on the south side of Chambers already exists. So that wouldn't be something that they would be adding in, so,
It's not really a cross sidewalk, it's like a paved parking area.
no, there's a sidewalk in front of there
They
too.
would go to the apron. You see the apron, it's in red,
Uh-huh,
they would go to that. And I think they may even do the apron, and maybe an apron for the church.
okay, so
I
it
see
would
that
be like
red.
turning the church not into something paved, but actually turning what's in front of the church into a sidewalk?
Because it's not ADA compliance.
Okay.
So whatever the sections that's not ADA compliance with the grant, you'd have to meet that.
Okay.
So the sidewalk from Kenny wraps around those townhouses and then stops at their driveway going back in. And there's some shrubs or something there before you get to the church's parking lot. So there'd have to be work with that development to remove those shrubs as well in order to connect it.
Well, because part of the reason that this street is so dangerous is because those people decided to put the property in, to grow their property up to what's not technically their line. So if we could like push those bushes back, then there would be a lot more site visibility for people. So I don't know if that's something that we can push for if we do get the grant.
So
But
I'm
it
gonna-
would be nice to have a northern side parking, sidewalk here.
I'm gonna just
Possible.
propose that we think about, let me see if this flies with you all. What if we, take, the idea of getting the initial piece done on the township, Hess to Park, okay, Hess to the park. And then we go ahead and proceed with the county, talking about more and more, towards this 2-year grant. Because by then, there may be more clarity about what's happening with Northwest Corridor anyway, when they rip that out from under our feet. We might even wanna go ahead and put stuff right here in front of 999 as well as a part of that piece, if we're doing, further up in front of the church, than we do right down here in front of the hall as well. And we may have more information to play into that part of the plan by then.
We could probably reach out to Mike and try to get a cost on the sidewalk from House
So it
to
looks like it's
Park.
gonna be a 2-stage process.
Right, so I'd say if we take on our part, our smaller part of the project and then keep working the other thing more long-term.
The other thing is, we do have this 7-year roads project, so it would be nice to tie this in with whenever we do this side of the township as well. Because that way we'd be killing 2 birds with 1 stone. That's just my 2 cents though.
And how many years would that be? How far out are we as far as doing this side of the township?
So they're just 7 sections. We can do the 7 sections in whatever order we want to. So technically we could do next year. We could do this side.
You can, it's not set, you can move them around.
Yep.
Okay.
So we could do it next year. We could do the whole thing, including the sidewalks, next year. If this is year 1, getting everything set up and then paving it next year would be a possibility. And we can also try to put in that one little section in this year as well.
Did you or Bobby have any thoughts about the sidewalks, or did Rochelle not know?
So are we okay with maybe Dave proceeding to just to get us some idea on what our piece of the shorter project would look like?
Yep,
And
if that's the direction the board
You good
wishes.
with that? Thank you.
And I believe that's all I had.
Do we have any appreciations?
Lisa Austin Jones, in case she's not in the minutes elsewhere. One place or the other is fine. For organizing and getting started with the Black Watch for Huey and Audrey, thank you.
Thanks to Matt and Deborah for all the work that they've done in trying to figure out what's the best way that we can communicate with residents. We appreciate you guys doing that work over the last few weeks.
Yeah, I'll just say even just that detail of trying to get the projector synced up with what's behind the trustees' heads. I'm happy that Deborah caught that wish of mine that maybe May 18th would be a chance that I'm using the big screen again, and then she wouldn't need to pivot the camera, and still just be on the trustees. The trustees will be looking at the screen, but the image behind them would be the same.
Bobby?
Yeah, I don't have an appreciation. I have a question. and I don't know, maybe Carol knows more about this, a couple of the residents on 8th Avenue, when I was telling them about the paving project and stuff like that, mentioned the fact, are your storm sewers clogged up or any problems with them?
Not on my property, no. They're
Because
fine.
Jean and Julie were the ones that said there was a problem with the storm sewers there, and asked if he knew about that, and I said, I do not know. I don't know if there's, what's going on, they just mentioned that there was a problem with the storm sewer. In front, I guess just in front of their, I don't think just in front of their house, or along that side of 8th Avenue.
Dave and I were talking about this yesterday. He suggested that over here, because these were built in the 1940s, that it is quite possible that our sewer system is the same clay pipe that is over there. So yeah, if you wanna talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, there's the old system that's in place, and there's a new system also, newer system. I don't know what they're tied in together, because the old system looked a little shallow, but after talking to Rebecca, there may be even a deep old section also. But there is new sections throughout the.
Yeah, Hess Boulevard was redone, the storm sewers were done, I don't know how many years ago it was now, but that's fairly new. And what other street did they do? I don't know if it was Gerard or Road, if they did one or the other.
There's several new catch basins
Yeah.
throughout the area. We can start looking them, camera through them. You don't have an address for 8th Avenue, do you?
No,
Okay.
it's 2 houses down from where Carol is all I
Always,
know.
it would be really helpful just to encourage folks to call Dave whenever you're having a conversation like that, so that we can, collect that information and get on it.
I know I received 2 phone calls last year, and there was both the shallow old system that was plugged. Well, one was plugged up, one had been tore into when they done a water tap, or repaired a water tap, and they never connected the line again. So we had a section, we had the county come out and help us flush that out, got it opened up, reconnected the line. So far it's been working great.
Would it be too much, would it be like a request from the engineer's office to find out when our drain systems were most recently updated?
Nick knows, he gave me a date when some of them was put in last, I thought it was 2012. But
I don't remember when it was. He probably does know.
the gas company reached out to me several months ago, and they wanted to come over and camera all the lines and make sure they had no issues with their gas lines going into houses, cutting through storm sewers. So I give them all the maps I had, and I have not heard back from them. Because if we didn't have a gas line that busted into one of the house.
And we don't want to hit any gas lines.
Well, it would be nice to find out and see if some of them are still from the 40s or if they've been mostly updated. But I don't know how we would figure that out.
Yeah, now another thing, just quickly, we're trying to get some activities going again with the Civic Association. We had the Easter egg hunt, which was very much of a success. And we're gonna do the plant swap again this year. I was gonna try to do it in May, but there's too many conflicts and all, so I think we're gonna try to do it on Saturday, June the 3rd. I don't have a time or anything yet, but I think that's probably when we're gonna try to set it up, and it will be at the shelter house at the playground. I'll give you more information once we get that all set.
Send it to me, Bobby.
I'm sorry, what?
Send it to me.
I'll get it to you as soon as we get it, the times and stuff set, okay?
I guess maybe it might be worth repeating that in June, July, August, the trustees will only be meeting on the first Thursday of the month for the summer cycle. I'll try to bring that up throughout the meetings until then, just get word out that June, July, August will be one meeting, first Thursday of the month.
It's been updated on our website too.
Anything else? At this time, I'd like to make a motion to enter into an executive session for ORC 121.22G1 to consider the employment and compensation of a public employee.
Second? Trustee Stewart? Yes. Trustee Grant?
Yes.
That's awesome.